In late May of 2025, we set off from the Northern Rivers for a trip to Victoria to explore the Grampians and the Murray-Darling. I'll leave it up to you to work out whether you think we were crazy or not to do it at this time of the year. So here we go. Bye, Poppy. See you in a few weeks. Bye, Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks for looking after the place.
And you've got my key.
Yeah. Okay. We're away.
See ya.
Everything's looking ship-shape. Done the light check. Green light on the drawbars. Lit. Everything's connected up correctly. Farewell to Bangalore. See you soon. Well, arrived at Narrandera as predicted. So, Darlington looking quite a lot drier than it was when we arrived yesterday. And some relieved kangaroos sitting over here. These guys were trying to shelter under the caravan when we arrived, poor things. Heading along the boardwalk behind the beach at Darlington. Oops. This could well be as far as I go. So many great skimming stones here. A beautiful beach is always a beautiful beach. Anyway, after a few days the weather cleared up and we kept heading south. Our next stop was Toronto. It's like this little reserve down at the bottom of Caravan Bay, and particularly liked this boat that's out here. It's called the Alkumi, and it's a duck-tailed boat, and I don't know what it is that appeals to me, but I'll put the drone out and see if I can get a shot of it. I always tried when I had the little tiny drone to do this, but I was never going to take it out behind the boat because I felt I was going to lose it. But Dave is much more confident. I think Caravan Bay is a pretty nice setting. While we were in the Toronto area, we stayed with our friend, caught up with Emma and her family, and generally chilled out. You can see that the trip's starting out in a pretty relaxed way. We then headed across the Blue Mountains to Leura, where we stayed with our good friends Annie and Gavin in the house with such a beautiful garden. Gavin and I had a hit at Leura Golf Course, and Jan and Annie took a trip out to Mount Wilson, where they took a tour of the gorgeous gardens up there. Next stop was Cowra. This is where we stopped for lunch, not far from Cowra, and you can see it's a beautiful town, always worth a visit. We called in on Auntie Bet and the boys. You can see we always enjoy our time with them. Our next stop was Narrandera. We stopped in Area Park for lunch, then headed on for our overnighter at the Brewery Reserve campground. An interesting place to explore, but we were only there overnight. So we finally made it into Victoria. Here we are at Echuca. You can see that the river level was pretty low in the Murray. Still beautiful though. This boat's not going anywhere. Just arrived at Echuca and set up, ready to enjoy a few days here. I'm just walking down to the Murray, having a look at everybody's lovely houseboats. Heading out towards Mathara, where there's a bird hide that Emma recommended we have a look at. I'm looking forward to it. Now, this is something that we're not used to seeing at home. Flat landscape, long straight roads, and not bright green. It's different, beautiful. Really excellent display along here. I'm going to turn the picture around, get information and the sound of the call out of a speaker. A bit nippy out here this morning, but it is beautiful going in through the reed beds. The information tells us that it needs to be dry sometimes to remain healthy, and when it does flood, you get 20,000 birds in here. Just coming up the stairs with bird hide. And what a view. Peaceful place. We're in Rochester, and Jimmy Devarte, the artist, seems to have done a lot of the silos and murals in this area. That's quite some Some of the silos and water tanks without any decoration are equally beautiful. It was a bit cool in the mornings in Echuca. We had a few nights at Sandhurst Ridge Winery, which is near Bendigo. Beautiful winery, secluded. I think they only have 2 campsites on the property, and they've got a cosy winery where you can go and sit by the open fire if you want to. It's a great spot. It was pretty wintry, as you can see by the state of the vines, so we did take advantage of a terrific pub just up the road. And we spent a bit of time in Bendigo, which seemed like such a livable city. Now we get to Dunkeld in the southern Grampians. This was the caravan park that we stayed in. Really nice little park, lovely people, really clean, and this was the sunset on the night we arrived. Next morning we woke up to some fog, and it's always worthwhile having a look to see what might be above it. This is Mount Sturgeon, which is one of the local peaks that you can climb, and the surrounding countryside. We walked up to one of the lower peaks in the Grampians. It's been a beautiful morning. Fog's lifted, just a few traces of it on the tops of the peaks. It's called Bayangug, but I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Looks like some bushfire recovery going on here. Oh my goodness, that's quite a panorama. And that's Mount Sturgeon. Walking back down from the Piccaninny. I should use the proper name for it, but Piccaninny is much easier for me to pronounce. And Jan is right, it is a perfect day for it. Good temperature, air's clear, not dusty. Off on a further adventure this afternoon to Wannon Falls and maybe Negretta Falls as well. See whether how similar they are to the ones in the northern rivers that we love so much. Ooh. You can camp here. It's a nice spot. We took a drive to Mount Napier Lookout. Mount Napier is Australia's youngest volcano. It last erupted apparently 8,000 years ago, which seems a long time until you realise that there were people living in this area for many thousands of years before that. There was a river of lava that flowed along the foreground of this image, probably just at about walking pace, but you can imagine the awesome sight it must have been to the locals to see this all happening. There's an arboretum walk that goes through the Dunkeld Caravan Park that Jan took while I was having a hit at the Grampians golf course.
This is part of the walk. It looks like an interesting old house, although one of the signs that I read said that 35 houses have been burnt in a fire. So there can't be much that's left that's very old. Is it a timber mill? An old timber mill or something? I think. Looks like it. Sawmillers. So we're driving on our way from Dunkeld to Hall's Gap along the road, which obviously has been very badly affected by fires in November, December apparently of last year. Everything is looking very new.
We've arrived at Old Man Emu campground near Hall's Gap. Yeah, we're the only ones here. We're waiting for Greg and Cathy. We've got our priorities right in that. First thing we did is make a cup of tea, light the fire, haven't unhitched yet. Here come Cathy and Greg now. Campground was called Old Man Emu. We can really recommend it. This was our campsite, and there is a bit of a disclaimer: don't camp here in the winter without a campfire. This is Venus Baths. It's a pretty easy walk up from the town of Hall's Gap, and it's a gorgeous walk too. We're in the northern Grampians. We've just driven to Reed's Lookout. I'll let this one speak for itself. Not sure whether the photo will give you the depth of perception that we're seeing here, but it's unbelievable. Just approaching the balconies, which is a bit of a walk from Reed's Lookout. And you don't need the signs to tell you that the area is fire impacted. Just beautiful to see the regrowth happening on the trees. They've clearly had a hard time. The ones that have survived are coming back. This little grass tree over here. From Reed's Lookout you can walk up to the balconies, a spectacular and steep rock formation where I decided I'd fly Dave the drone out and unfortunately flew him sideways into a tree. Luckily for me, his injuries were minor. A few chipped and cracked props, and now he's back in the air, good as new. Yeah, look at it. You're already fat. You don't need to clean the barbecue, but thanks.
Like the ones at home. Yeah. And they're not supposed to eat steak.
just getting ready to depart Old Man Emu at Halls Gap, which is a lovely town. Lovely campsite, lots of space, friendly hosts, and only a few minutes drive into town. So yeah, and we've all really enjoyed it here. Good firewood, and yeah, lots of lovely places to sit and have a drink and a think and a talk. Ruby's loved it.
Ruby has loved it.
Yeah. Greg and Cathy's fans looking very ready to go. Maybe you want to take a break, grab some popcorn, a choc top. Don't go away permanently because there's some very cool stuff coming up. On our way to our next stop at Sea Lake, we called in at the stick shed at Murtoa. The pitch of the roof is at the same angle as a pile of grain naturally takes. We drove through a lot of wheat country and we noticed that on some farms the grain's stored in piles the same shape as this shed rather than in silos. We're at the stick shed, which is World War II emergency grain storage in Murtoa in Victoria. Quite an amazing structure, and it was built in 5 months by not all that many men. An incredible feat, really, and it holds enough grain to bake, what we're told, 200 million loaves of bread. Quite really worth a visit. There's an elaborate system of conveyor belts to move the grain in and out of the shed. One of the guides, a long-term local, told us that kids, including himself, used to jump from the ceiling of this place into the pile of grain. And we said, oh, that's got to be dangerous. He said, well, no, because it's not like a silo, because the grain can actually move. It's not restricted. So the kids used to do it all the time. There you go. This was our base camp at Sea Lake. And you can see we managed to get quite a lot of mud on the front of the caravan, which set like concrete. Took Jan a few days to get it off. Lake Tyrrell. Apologies for the audio quality, but I left a microphone in the caravan. On a windy day. Not sure that we're going to be taking advantage of the lay-back seats where we can lie and watch the sky, because it's like 7 degrees and a bit breezy. Amazing lake though, it's a weird colour. Not sure how well that's going to come out. There goes Doug. People come here at dusk and at night to get reflective pictures of the sky, which must be pretty amazing, but it was certainly too windy for us when we were there, and a bit too windy for Dave the drone too. But Greg's drone is bigger and stronger and handles the wind better. We did wake up to some pretty chilly mornings on this trip, but it was snug in the van. We were happy. Google does take you on some interesting roads from time to time. Lucky we're so intrepid. We're heading from Lake Tyrrell to La Selle to check out some silo art there. And yeah, a bit of an interesting road, following Greg and Cathy. Cathy's striding out ahead. There she goes. When we got to La Selle, again, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it the wrong way, we saw the most beautiful silo art. Some online comments have said that they thought this was dull. We didn't. We thought it was one of the best ones we'd ever seen. Just up the road at Woomalang, there are quite a few mini silos, which are beautifully done and a lot of fun. We had a great meal at the beautifully restored Royal Hotel. The restoration was a community project. We are travelling between Oyen, and we asked how to pronounce that, so I got it right, and Mildura on our way up to Wentworth, just past a vast solar farm. All going well. Jan's having a tow. We've arrived at the Wanderers Rest Caravan Park in Wentworth. Set up, had lunch, salad roll, having a little bevy, and what a spot. Right on the Darling River, and let's go up and show you the campsite. Got our own jetty. See the vans up here. We had a pretty easy drive up from Sea Lake this morning, less challenging than some of the roads we've been on. So yeah, all very stress-free and fun. I'll give you a quick look at the campsite, the van. Everything's pretty ship-shape, I think. Hello.
Hello.
Right, in we go. Yeah, very nice. Home for the next 4 days. What a great campsite. We were entertained by pelicans, cormorants and all kinds of other birds for the whole time we were there. And we were right on the riverfront, the Darling River, and this fly-along shows you that we were almost right on the junction of the Murray and the Darling. You can see that the two rivers go through different countryside, and the Darling carries more a lighter coloured silt, and this is where they join up. So we're at Orange World on a tour, and it looks like everybody's had a fight. But I think what's happened is we're really just all chasing the sun. We're in the orange train, about to take a tour of the orchard. Off we go.
Okay, the first thing I've got to ask is, can you hear me?
Yep. We are at the Perry Sand Dunes. These are river-blown sands from the bed of the rivers, the Darling and the Murray, when they were much deeper and carried a lot more water. And then when the water's receded, the winds get blown into these sand dunes. This is the God Tree, apparently. And we're standing near the top of the tree, but the sand is blown all the way up the tree, so its roots are way below us. This is altogether a weird and unexpected place. I still love looking at these pictures. We visited the Wentworth jail, as you do, and it's certainly a well worthwhile seeing piece of colonial history. It reminds me of my school days. The pelicans provided us with endless entertainment, beautiful animals to watch. And we walked down to Lock 10, where this one seemed to be ruling the roost. It had the best spot. This is where Water New South Wales monitors and controls the water level in the Murray. Or one of the places. It's Lock 10 for obvious reasons. Another source of entertainment and local income is the paddle boats that carry tourists around, but they have a real historical significance and they're beautiful things to watch. Have a look at the light here. We're just walking up to the observation platform at the junction of the two rivers on a spectacularly beautiful day. Can't see a cloud. I don't think there's going to be any puffing going up here because there's not as many steps as we're used to doing. A bit disappointing, really. I don't know how well it's come out, but you can pretty clearly see the division between the water coming out from the two rivers. Darling on your left, Murray on your right. Darling carrying a bit more suspended clay, I think. Wow. Speaking of wow, Greg took this photo of the sky from our campsite. The white streaks you can see on the river in the foreground are pelicans moving backwards and forwards. And this time lapse is pretty nice too. Makes me jealous. Apart from the abundant bird life, we're to visit from this cute critter and a large glossy water rat. We had the riverbank and the water rat, so all we needed was a toad and a mole and a badger to complete the set for the wind in the willows. Swan Hill was our next stop. The caravan park there is situated on the Little Murray, which is another beautiful waterway. Walking through the park along the river in Swan Hill. Nice. Families having picnics, coots, ducks. Yeah. And a stranded basketball. I'm not going to get it. There's always something to look at on the river. We're at Lake Boga, not far from Swan Hill, where there was a top secret flying boat base during the Second World War. If you're in the area, you should so definitely visit this museum. The staff there are really amazing, and they've got computer resources that allow you to look up the records of any of your relatives that might have served in conflicts for Australia over the years. Dave the drone got so inspired by the whole experience that he wanted to pretend to be a Catalina and take off from Lake Boga and do a circuit around the town. Swan Hill has a heritage village display, and at night they do a laser light show projected onto columns of water, which was beautiful. We loved it. This was our swan song lunch. See what I did there? After this, we sadly parted with Cathy and Greg and started to head back home. We stopped at Moolameen for a coffee and a look at the local silo art. Then it was Parks, where we took the opportunity to visit the dish. It was always worthwhile. There's a terrific educational display there. A lot of fun. Parks is the ideal place to capture a pair of dishes and a sunset. Coonabarabran's the gateway to the Warrumbungles, and it's a great place to enjoy a sunset as well. Inverell was our last stop before coming home.